Cooper Kupp to the San Francisco 49ers? I don't know about that, but Chad Ochocinco seems to think that's a real possibility, or at least one of the two teams that Cooper Kupp could be traded to. If you haven't heard, Cooper Kupp is on the trade block, and not only to the point where it's been rumored, he's actually acknowledged it. He's actually talked about it. He's been asked by media about it. He understands what it is. So there is a real world that exists where Cooper Kupp could potentially be traded. And so how does that impact the San Francisco 49ers? And what is Ocho Cinco really saying about this situation? And do we believe it? But first, before we get into that, this video is sponsored by my Bookie, who's celebrating 10 years of being the best place to get your bets in for these big games. As we know, you can get so involved. There's so many different options. And to really just make it simple, you got to tap in with my Bookie. And when you use my promo code, the SFNINERS, you can tap in on a double deposit bonus, and you can really take advantage of this opportunity. You also will get a $10 casino chip, and that is huge. You can turn this football knowledge that you have into big time payouts with my Bookie. Make sure you tap in and make sure you go to the link in the description, use the promo code SF9ers, and get in with the action on my Bookie. But let's get into the action with what we got going on here. So, Chad Ochocinco on October 14th, he predicted that Davante Adams would be traded to the Jets. Okay. October 15th, Adams was traded to the Jets. All right. Good for Chad Ochocinco. On October 23rd, Ochocinco predicts Cooper Kupp will be traded to the Bucks or the San Francisco 49ers. Obviously, today is the 24th. We don't know what will happen, but this is the tweet that he originally put out, as you can see right here. Cooper Kupp to the Bucks or the San Francisco 49ers. So I think the question that we have here is this real? Do we actually believe that the Rams would trade Cooper Kupp in division? I have a hard time believing it. I really do. I just the history between the San Francisco 49ers and the Rams and in division trades, and I really do think the Rams would only consider it is obviously if they get a nice return potentially from the San Francisco 49ers, or they genuinely believe Cooper Kupp is washed. Unfortunately for Cooper, after his big Triple Crown season where he just had one of the better seasons in recent memory from a wide receiver, from a production standpoint, tore up his knee, and we just really haven't seen him be the same guy ever since. So I don't really see that as being an option. I don't see it being something that the San Francisco 49ers would be totally interested in. So maybe it's more of a leverage play here. Maybe, I mean, we see this all the time. When there's a big name out there, the San Francisco 49ers are somehow linked one way or the other. Don't forget that Ian Rappaport linked Davante Adams to the San Francisco 49ers when he was being discussed in trade talks. So this isn't new. This isn't new territory. It's almost like clockwork, effectively. When a big name player is rumored to be traded, always going to be linked to the San Francisco 49ers. So it is what it is. Again, I know the 49ers, I do believe they need wide receiver help. I know that there's some people who don't think that because you have um, Ricky Pearsall and Jacob Cowing. And although I do have a lot of faith in those young players, the biggest thing is injury. And Jawan Jennings didn't practice yesterday. Debo Samuel, we know, can be banged up from time to time. And when you look at the two rookies, they've both been hurt in their very short rookie seasons. And we're not even talking about Ricky Pearsall being shot. He missed all of training camp, or majority of training camp and all of the preseason with a shoulder injury. And that was actually his third injury prior to getting shot. So that's my thought process behind it is you need wide receiver depth. Now, you could get someone who would come in to be a wide receiver 3-4 type. They don't have to come in and instantly replace Brandon Ayuk, but I believe when it comes to this conversation and it comes to do the 49ers need to go out and get someone, they need they I do believe they need to trade for someone if they really want to get after this. And I think we'll have a better idea of what that move could be if they win against the Cowboys, because if they get the win against the Cowboys, they'll be 4-4 heading into the bye, getting Christian McCaffrey hopefully back on the other side. And we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I think that is the move. Like, I think you could theoretically trade for defensive tackles, defensive ends, and wide receivers. Those seem like the positions of need right now for the 49ers. We do expect Talanoa Hufanga will be back after the bye as well. So they will be getting some reinforcements back. But man, when it comes back to this conversation about wide receiver, maybe that's where Darius Slayton comes into the mix. Maybe Christian Kirk, if you can work out a deal with Bulky where he eats a large portion of the contract, because I'm sure the 49ers aren't going to want to take on Kirk's contract. But if he does become an option or expendable, that could be something that the 49ers look into. Obviously, Deontay Johnson with the Panthers, even Adam Thielen potentially with the Panthers. So I think those options are a lot more realistic than Cooper Kupp. And that's nothing against Cooper Kupp. I still think he's a pretty solid wide receiver. He would fit in with the 49ers culture and everything like that. That's not the problem. I just think that, what are you paying for? Are you paying for a guy? And I'm sure I haven't even looked at his contract numbers, but I'm sure it's not super manageable. So you're also going to take that into consideration. How much would you have to pay for in division rival for a player like that? And the fact that they want to trade him isn't a good sign either. So, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem very realistic for Cooper Kupp, but again, we've seen crazier things happen in the NFL. But I think the more realistic options is, again, you trying to be able to add someone who could potentially provide an impact that you can maybe get for a 5th-round draft pick or less. I think that you have to be very careful as the 49ers, as you don't want to burn future draft capital just to, like throw a Hail Mary at this season. I think you want to be smart in building for the future. And so that's why I'm of the mindset, you don't give up anything above a 5th, maybe a conditional 4th at best. Because the thought process is you are going to get compensatory picks back from some of these players are going to leave in free agency. So you'll be able to recoup more picks. But I still don't think you want to totally overextend yourself unless you are getting a premier blue chip type player. Then that is young and can have an impact later on, not just this season as well. But we'll see what happens. I'm curious to see what you guys think about this. Let me know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe for more updates.